Chapter 1. The birth of Angela and Lucia. The year is 1919. Two women were laughing, named Erlinda and Erlita. They were gathering dry woods with their father. Most of the trees are pine trees of various types. However, one tree stood among the rest. This tree is quite peculiar. It has branches, and it also has a fruit like an apple, but oblong in shape. Erlita climbed the tree and picked some fruits.
Erlinda, catch the fruits,
Erlita said to her sister. Erlita moved and sat on a rather large branch, folding its skirts and making her thighs stick out. She threw down some fruits while eating a few for herself. The fruits that were thrown down were put in Erlinda's skirt, causing her navel to be exposed, and noticing her belly had grown quite big. She was already 5 months pregnant.
Stop, these are quite plenty already,
Erlinda said with a chuckle. As Erlita clambered down from the tree, her disheveled appearance sent both sisters into a fit of laughter.
Let's head home before nightfall.
The sisters quickly composed themselves, climbed into the carriage, and waved as their father mounted his horse, ready for the journey back. When they arrived home, their father went ahead first. Erlita then dropped off Erlinda at her nearby home since Erlinda is married and lives separately. Upon entering her residence, she encountered her husband, who pulled Erlinda by the hair.
You were out with your flirty sister again. Where did you go flirting again?
He aggressively said to Erlinda. Erlita just looked at Larry in disbelief, then she made a dirty finger sign. Erlinda's husband is Larry, a drunkard who is currently unemployed. He used to be a soldier. Larry is kind when he doesn't drink alcohol, but when he does, his behavior changes. The fruits Erlinda had on her skirt fell due to Larry's action.
Stop it. It hurts, you're drunk again, how shameless can you be?
She smacked his husband's arm hard and entered the house, crying. The husband and wife are always fighting. Having their cultural differences adds into the tension. Erlinda's family roots are of Spanish descent, while her husband Larry and his roots are from British lineage. The couples are born and raised in the United States. Both families acquired American citizenship. The day came when Erlinda gave birth, and everyone was surprised. She gave birth to an angel baby. They named the newborn baby Angela. Larry got better, and was very happy to have an angel daughter. He started working again as a carpenter and mason and did everything within his skill set. He also goes to church regularly, sometimes 3 times a week. Erlinda and Larry talked about keeping the existence of the angel child a secret. However, since Larry's mother took the job as a midwife in birthing their daughter, she also knew. They decide to keep it within themselves for now. They also kept it a secret from Erlita. Whenever Erlita visits, they cover baby Angela with a cloth. Occasionally, Erlita wants to bathe Angela, and Erlinda quickly takes the child away. Since Angela's birth, their house has been clean, and everything is in order. Larry has also turned down invitations from his goofy friends to drink with them, and they tease him for being afraid of his wife. Months went by, and Erlinda began to vomit, showing signs of pregnancy. A checkup confirmed that she was expecting again. Larry, overjoyed, expressed to his wife,
God must have heard my prayers for another baby. I'm sure we'll be blessed with another angel. I'll work harder, and we'll experience even more blessings.
Erlinda smiled as she listened to Larry, especially since he had been working hard since Angela's birth. The time came when Erlinda gave birth to her second baby, precisely on the day she gave birth to Angela, exactly 1 year ago. To avoid what people would say, they never went to a doctor, and Larry's mother stepped in as a midwife at the birth of their second child, as their child might have been an angel. Contrary to Larry's expectations, their second daughter was no angel. Unaware of this, Larry happily asked his mother if their second child was also an angel baby. She shook her head. As Larry approached the baby, he was surprised to see a small, pure black wing. Stunned, he almost let go. Anger surged within him, but when the baby smiled back at him, his anger lessened. Realizing he could have managed his expectations better, Larry felt Erlinda reach for his hand.
She is still our child,
remarked Erlinda, gently squeezing his hand. Larry's tone of speech changed.
Maybe it's your child, but not mine. It probably comes from you shamelessly flirting around and getting on by some devil.
Leaving the house at the same time, Erlinda burst into tears. A moment later, as she calmed down from crying, she carried the baby with her. Then, baby Angela approached them, playing with her sister. Larry named their second child Lucia. Larry, overwhelmed by depression and unable to accept that his second daughter was different, returned home in a drunken stupor. He searched for the baby, silently lifting her from Erlinda's arms without waking her. Moving towards the balcony, he prepared to release her from a great height. Sensing her father's intentions, the baby cried out loudly. In that moment, Angela, still unsteady on her feet, appeared and smiled at her father, grasping his leg for support and causing Larry to kneel down. Seeing her sister in Larry's arms, Angela giggled and began to play with Lucia. Awakening to find the baby missing, Erlinda followed the sound of Angela's laughter to the balcony. There, she discovered Larry holding Lucia. She took the baby from him with a cold stare. Larry slowly returned to his vices and started drinking heavily again. Angela was the only one he would play with and carry when he wasn't drunk. He also frequently fought with his wife, Erlinda, whenever he came home intoxicated. Erlinda confided in her sister, Erlita, as she found it difficult to bear and keep all her frustrations to herself. She told her sister about her children. Erlita promised to keep everything a secret and helped Erlinda take care of the two children. Their wings were too small, so they were careful when bathing and caring for the two. As time passed, the children grew older, learning to walk and play together. Lucia, naturally mischievous, occasionally took Angela's toys, a typical sibling dynamic. However, whenever Larry witnessed this, he would react by immediately scolding or even hitting Lucia. Erlinda always stepped in to intervene, her husband's temper becoming a persistent source of concern. Even if Angela was at fault, Larry would still punish Lucia. Once, in frustration, Erlinda confronted him.
You keep calling our child a demon, but maybe you're the one who's acting like a real demon.
Thankfully, they lived far from other houses, so no one could hear them arguing. Years later, Larry got a job at a military shipyard, the construction site in Virginia. He would be gone for a long time, about 3 to 4 years for his contract. Erlinda raised the two children on her own. Her care for them turned out well. Even though the children were still young, you could see their deep love for each other. Angela was generous to her sister, and Lucia became less mischievous as she grew older. Their mother always guided them and filled them with good teachings. As a mother, Erlinda still worries about her children growing up. What if their wings grow? How can we hide that? I'm the only one in the whole world who has this problem. What if they grow up and get seen, then caught and turned into experiments? Erlinda thinks, crying as she watches her little one sleeping peacefully.
God, please help us, take care of us.
She prays. She often wonders why she had given such offspring. Her sister, Erlita, also has a child, and Erlinda frequently compares her daughters to Erlita's child, noting that they don't have wings like her own children.